She turned to her friends at the HFHA to find out how to handle this problem. They explained that now that the two little piggies were in their home habitat, they would certainly need more space. So once again, Little Red was off to shop for a bigger habitat. She learned of a way to put one together so that in the future it could be enlarged fairly easily. She liked that idea in case she ever gave another piggy a home with her two newest furry buddies. Methinks she already was itching for a third piggy. In the meantime, Saul and Abe were still not getting along well at all. They had moved into their new habitat, but still ended up fighting several times. So Little Red decided to do another thing she had learned from her friends. She put a partition in the habitat, a fence of a sort that separated one end from the other. The habitat was now much bigger than the first one, separating the two guinea pig boars, but still allowing them to see, hear, smell, and chatter at one another ended up being a good solution. From that day forth, Saul and Abe still lived in the same habitat, but with a fence between them. Little Red really didn't love this, but she tried several times to put them back together. Every time they ended up fighting within a matter of minutes. When the partition was between them, they were both calm and were quite content. They would bump noses, chitter, lay down near one another near the fence, but they could not fight or hurt one another. It was a suitable option. After some time had passed, and her precious piggies had a chance to settle in, started to feel safe with Little Red and really enjoy their new home, she decided it was time to visit with her family, who lived far away. She didn't have anyone to keep her two little piggy boars, so she decided to take them with her. They were excited at the idea of an adventure, a long trip to a far-off land, but they had no idea what it meant to travel that far. Little Red packed all of their things that the guinea pig boys would need, including food and bedding and everything else. She put the boys in their carriers, each in their own now, gathered all of their travel bags, and off they went. After the long ride in a noisy, bumpy, scary machine, the piggy boys decided they did not enjoy traveling. Not at all. It wasn't easy to be in those little carriers for such a long time. Little Red had provided them with hay and some cucumber to munch on. It contains a lot of water, so they would not get too thirsty. Plus plenty of soft bedding. She took several breaks and gave them treats and fresh water in bowls, but they were not used to drinking from a bowl, so really didn't even try. All three of them were so happy to finally make it to their destination, but it was very late in the day, almost their sleep time, by the time they arrived. Once they got there, Little Red put up their habitat in the new place, filled it with their food, hay, water bottles, hidey huts, and once again the partition. They all settled down and went to sleep, including Little Red. She was bushed. They stayed in this new place for a number of days. All was going really well. Little Red even let the piggy boys play together on the floor of her bedroom. This gave them lots of space, much more than their habitat, and they could run around and explore and eat hay and pellets and veggies and that she gave them every day. If they started to get agitated with one another, Little Red would put one or both of them back in their habitat. They didn't love that, but they knew she was doing it for their own good. Then one evening, after the sun had gone down behind the hills, there was a terrible thunderstorm. The guinea pig boys were on the floor during the storm, enjoying some exploration as well as some veggies. All of a sudden, there was a really loud thunderclap. Bang! Right then, the lights went out, and it was pitch black in the room. Little Red was right there. She quickly snatched up Abe and put him in his end of the habitat. Saul was another story. She could not hear or see him. When she finally found him, she picked him up quickly, but since it was still totally dark in the room, she did not see one of the hay bins nearby. It had a sharp edge on one corner, and when she picked Saul up, he squealed so loudly. She thought she felt him bump into the hay bin, but she did not realize what exactly had happened, and she could not see. The next morning, when she checked on the two little piggies, she then could see that Solly's eye was injured. It was swollen and red and bleeding a little. Since her plan was to return to her home that day, she decided to go ahead with the trip and to contact the Piggies' doctor. A plan was made for the Piggy doctor to meet them at his office as soon as they got back to town. So Little Red quickly packed up all their belongings and off they went on the long trip home. Saul and Abe in their carriers once again, only this time it felt different. Saul was hurting, and Abe knew it. He felt very badly for Saul. They were buddies, even though they no longer shared a room. Abe seemed to have a sense that this wasn't going to be good for Saul. He chittered with Saul the whole way home. Little Red thought he was trying to console Saul. She might have been right. Thankfully, the doctor decided to meet Little Red with Saul at the house. Solly's eye injury was bad, but had been complicated by a piece of hay that got stuck in it. The hay poke actually was directly into his eyeball, like being stabbed with a needle, which made it a good deal worse. So the doctor removed the hay, cleaned Saul's eye with medicated solution, and gave Little Red instructions on how to care for it for the next few days. He stated he would check Saul's eye again in 3 days. Part of Solly's treatment was a medication to prevent infection. He had to take it by mouth 2 times a day, but Saul's gut did not like this medicine. It made Saul feel so terribly sick, with belly pain and no appetite at all. Saul stopped eating completely, he stopped drinking water, and even stopped pooping. Little Red knew that this was really bad, and she had a strong sense that the medicine was what was causing the tummy upset, so she stopped giving it to him. She called the doctor to talk about it, and he agreed. She kept doing the other things the doctor had instructed, cleaning Saul's eye 3 times a day, putting eye drops in it, and she started feeding him with soft food from a syringe and giving him water. After a few days of doing this, Saul did start to feel better, eat his hay and a little of the veggies, and drink water on his own again. And finally, on day 5, he pooped. And he pooped. And he pooped. Boy, did Solly feel better, and boy, was Little Red happy, and so was Solly. Little Red squealed and could not stop smiling and even danced a little jig. And even Abe was excited and happy for Saul. Abe started popcorning, jumping, and up and down with a little twist. That's popcorning. And running around the habitat like he was trying to win a race. I think they call that the zoomies. Little Red continued to give Saul some of the soft food and water from a syringe, feeding him, to make sure he was getting enough until she saw that he was back to his normal routine. From that point on, Solly did well, eating and drinking and sleeping comfortably, even seeming to be totally enjoying being picked up by Little Red, and loved it when she snuggled with him. All was well. For about 3 weeks. Then one day, Little Red noticed Solly hunkering down and squealing like something was hurting about every 5 minutes, plus laying in his hidey hut with his face toward the back wall and not coming out. Once again, he wasn't eating or drinking, and now he seemed to be in a tremendous amount of pain. So back to the doctor they went, but the news wasn't good. This time, poor Solly had a bladder stone, which caused a lot of pain and was preventing him from peeing normally, if at all. This is the kind of problem that many piggies cannot survive. So the doctor recommended making Solly as comfortable as possible and letting him cross the rainbow bridge to heaven. Little Red was devastated. She couldn't believe that after all Solly had recovered from, the eye injury and the belly issues, now on top of all of that, he had developed bladder stones. It just didn't seem right. But Little Red also knew something else. She knew that the creator of this world and everything in it was watching what was happening with Saul. And she knew that this creator loved Saul and Abe and even her, Little Red herself. So she decided to trust this creator with the outcome for Saul and let him cross that beautiful rainbow bridge so he could end up in the most beautiful place ever, heaven. And she knew one other thing. She knew that she and Abe would one day be with Solly in heaven and with her doggie Zoe, and they would have the most fun ever, and it would be forever. So she took Solly home so he could be with her and Abe while he was getting ready to cross that bridge. And that's exactly what he did. Little Reb and Abe said their sweet farewells, and each gave Solly a kiss as he left this world for the next.